The swastika's metamorphosis began with an archaeological dig in the 19th century. In 1874, excavations started at a site believed to be the ancient city of Troy in Turkey. They were led by a German businessman named Heinrich Schliemann.
Schliemann was an adventurer, and his real mission was to find the real Troy, the Troy of the Homeric epics. Now, as he dug, he found spheres, strange spheres with an equator around them, bearing the image of what we would call the swastika, and plenty of fragments of pottery bearing swastikas.
What Schliemann had uncovered was to have deadly consequences. His work would inadvertently lay the foundations for a new mythology of the swastika to be constructed. One which would transform it from a sacred symbol of benevolence into the Nazi emblem of the Aryan master race.
Now, Schliemann did not know what these symbols were, but there were scholars who were willing to interpret these objects and these symbols for him. One of these men was a man called Emil Burnouf.
Burnouf was a scholar of ancient Indian literature, and it was to a Hindu epic called the Rig Veda that he turned to try and make sense of Schliemann's find.
In the Rig Vedas, there are a people called the Aryas mentioned, and in the lexicon of the Rig Vedas, the word swastika is mentioned, and scholars like Burnouf put the swastika together with the Aryas and said, this was the ancient symbol of these people, the Aryas, and these people were invaders, warriors who came from the north, who displaced the existing people of India, and these were the same people who we find represented in the pottery fragments of Troy.
Two entirely unconnected mythologies were becoming one. The people of ancient Troy were being fused with the Aryans of the Hindu Rig Vedas, and the swastika was the symbol that Burnouf claimed united them.
So, really, the swastika fragment became, for pseudo-scholars like Burnouf, the perfect excuse to build a new mythology and invent a single pan-European colonial warrior race using the swastika as their emblem.
For Hitler, a symbol with such a mythology, albeit invented, was the perfect emblem for his ambitions for Germany.
The Nazis were involved in this huge project of trying to create a new history for themselves. They weren't really happy with their association with Christian history because they saw that as having Hebrew Jewish roots. And it was that notion of a history that was being kind of imagined out of these different symbols and sources that Hitler wanted to use to give the Nazi movement its own foundation.
Within decades, the swastika had been ripped from its ancient religious roots and become shorthand for the Nazis and their chilling agenda. It was perhaps the most successful example of cultural theft in history.
When you look at the swastika, you don't think this is the symbol of Hinduism. No, the swastika means Nazism, it means evil, death, and genocide.